Can we do this? This is good. Is this like, okay, I always sit next.
I checked it.
It's like, doggone Randy, the cool mosquito would have been a good story. Okay. I got you guys.
Did you turn it on? Did you turn it on?
That was a pretty crazy story when they were telling me about it. I was like, this is real.
You did?
Sounds like something on the alien.
I was not even hanging out.
Because Saturday's got that.
Yeah.
I sit right next to me.
That's Trevor's doing.
I'm like,
That's all that's with the tax increase. I thought we were going to have a little bit more at the commission? Or at the fire district, right? That's at the commission.
I'm always cold. I share my wife likes it cold. I share an office with somebody that turns the air
Yes, I said, I'm Jim Ross.
conditioner.
Blame Commissioner Wilbur. That's right. Well, welcome everybody. We apologize for running just a little bit late. I apologize for coming in just a little bit late. It's a conversation with one of our commissioners. So we appreciate everyone being here tonight. If there's anyone here to speak at our open comment period tonight, there are forms out on the podium out there. Fill those out and bring them up to Wendy, our deputy recorder. We'll begin tonight with our opening ceremony and turn the time over to Councilmember Bush.
Will you please stand and repeat the Pledge of Allegiance with me?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Our Father in heaven, as we meet here this evening, we're thankful for the opportunity we have of being here in this free land and for those who protect our freedom. We're thankful for our citizens and for the people who come and go here every day and for our employees who help those people. We're thankful for our fire personnel and police personnel and are mindful of some of those people who have passed on in our state recently, and we ask that thou would be with their families and comfort them. Help us tonight that we will be guided by thee, the things that we say and do will be beneficial for our residents and for the people that come and go here each day. And these things we say in the name of Jesus Christ, amen.
Amen. Thank you, Kent. Council, we have a few different sets of minutes to approve tonight. We removed one earlier, I believe. If you got the email from Nancy, we pulled the one set of minutes off for some further review. You had a chance to review the minutes, and if are there any changes, concerns? If not, I'd entertain a motion on the minutes.
Your Honor, I move to approve the July 31, 2018 joint work session, July 31, 2018 special session, and the August 1, 2018 neighborhood party minutes as written.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Well, that brings us to our open comment period. I don't have any forms here for anyone to speak tonight. Was there anyone here to, oh, we do have one. It's on its way up. Mr. LeBaron, would you come forward and state your name and address so that we can record that?
You betcha. Mike LeBaron, 749 East, 2050 South. I apologize, between the prayer and the Pledge of Allegiance, I didn't get a complete opportunity to completely fill out the form. So, but you do have my contact information. So, hey, I wanted to take an opportunity just to speak in favor of the resolution that you're going to consider tonight with respect to North Davis Fire District. Having had an opportunity to work with them in the past, having seen their service, haven't seen them in action, and I know you guys have as well. If there's a job that you can get satisfaction out of in the knowledge that you actually help and make an impact on somebody else's lives, it's got to be the fire guys and it's got to be the police guys. And they deserve wage increases to be competitive with the other districts in this area, with the other fire departments in this area. And they deserve those cost of living benefits and wage increases associated with benefits. So I just want to take a moment and speak in favor of that. And thank you for your time. Form said be cordial, so I'm not going to swear. So I refrain from swearing. That was a little out of character for me, so I just wanted to let you know I'm, complying with your directions.
Thank you, Mike. Was there anyone else that was here to speak? We would like to welcome our 3 county commissioners here with us tonight. They joined us for our work session, and they're here spending a minute with us tonight. Did you guys have anything you wanted to share with us publicly? If you'd like. Now would be the time.
We just this is my first time being the commissioner chair and being at a city council meeting. As I mentioned, the work session, I was driving up today and from Farmington, me and Mayor Shepherd, we went to kind of checking out this urban housing / affordable housing, components that we have at the fair to kind of highlight some stuff. And the drive up, I realized, wait, I'm the commissioner chair. Usually, I've been lucky enough to pass this on to Jim for the last year and a half, but that means the commissioner chair, I got to get up and represent the county. But we just wanted to make sure that as you mentioned in the work session, that we like to make it out to every city, try to make it out every year to come out and hear from you and hear from the citizens if there is any comments about what we can do as a county, and just kind of make sure that that we want to work collaboratively with you and work with you on anything that we can do as a county to help you. As we've discussed with libraries and other issues and UTA, as we did in the work session, just know that you have a name and a face and you know how to reach us. As many of you on the city council already have my cell phone, I know you guys know how to reach me. So, and many of us serve on boards together, and we just want to let you know, and we appreciate your work that you do in your work, and that this actually is one of our highlights. To be honest with you, coming to a city council meeting to interact with you, because you know how what we go through on a day-to-day basis, we know what you guys go through on a day-to-day basis on making sure that the city runs very smoothly as well as the county runs very smoothly, so that we can have that, like I said, that interaction. So if there are any comments from my compadres, I welcome them to anything they want to say.
Okay. Turn around and wave to Facebook Live. And
then if there's any, as you mentioned, you've already had your public comment, but if there's any citizens here that want to talk to us, we can talk afterwards or anything else.
Thank you, commissioners. We appreciate you being here. So item number 2 is to consider approval of the award of bid 1425 West 1425 West Street roadway improvement project. Scott, give us a little background there.
Mayor, Council, it's good to be with you this evening. This project is to replace a water line on 1425 West, starting about 975 south to 725 south. Residential road. The existing street's probably been in there for 35, 40 years. The water line is an undersized water line. It's a 6-inch water line, so we want to replace that with an 8-inch water line. And as we are doing that, we will replace the pavement on that road as well, and repair some curb gutter sidewalk that has been damaged, and install a small section of storm drainage on the south end of the project. As we bid out the project, there was 7 contractors who bid on it. The lowest bid that we received was from Marsh Construction, and that bid was, I have to look down my notes here, at $458,363, and what, 65 cents or some. Our city engineers have reviewed those bids, and I recommend that we award the bid to Marsh Construction. We have worked with Marsh in the past. It has been several years ago that they did a CDBG project for us, but we have some working relationship with them, and they've helped us out on another small project up on Highway 193 when we had that water line that was leaking here a couple of years ago. They stepped in and helped us with that project as well.
Good. Council, any questions for Scott?
So does that feed that whole subdivision then? So I'm just thinking, who's going to benefit from the increased water flow?
The benefit will be the people that live there on that street.
On that street.
It is a lower street within the subdivision. Our long-range goal is to replace most all of the water lines within that subdivision. There's already been 1 or 2 that have been replaced, but there are several more that are on our long-range plan that need to be replaced. But this one, we've had several water leaks that we have had to deal with the last few years on this stretch of road, and so that's why it has come to the priority it has, is to try to eliminate those water leaks and turning the water out of service for those people who are repairing those leaks.
What's their timing on this?
We would hope that they could get started as soon as possible. Talked with the engineer today, said just let him know that we would be hopefully awarding this tonight. We would like to get this done this fall. Right now we're running up against the calendar, never knowing how quick winter might set in. It's like last winter, we can work all winter long. It's like the winter before, we're in trouble. So hopefully we can get it done before bad weather sets in.
Okay. Any other questions for Scott? Okay. Thank you, Scott.
Thank you.
Council, seeing no further questions, I'd entertain a motion.
Your Honor, I move to approve the award for the bid for 1425 West Street Roadway Improvement Project to Marsh Construction for the bid amount of $458,363.65. Approve funding for the project bid amount with contingency and engineering cost of $98,399 for a total project cost of $556,762.65, and authorize your signature to any necessary documents.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, that is unanimous. Brings us to item number 3, which is to consider approval of Resolution 2018 R-12, adopting and certifying a tax rate for the North Davis Fire District's 2018 tax year. Chief or Deputy Chief, one of you want to just give us some quick background?
Yeah, so I was directed by the board to do a wage study. Everybody across the state has been struggling with wages, and we see that in public safety with police and fire. We did a local wage study. We had a considerable difference in ours, and we've been losing firefighters all year. And I think at the current rate now, there's like 600 police jobs opens in the state. But we did a study with just our local districts around here. We can't even compare to the Salt Lake Valley, and recommended adjustments accordingly. And that is the only thing that this certified rate is covering, is wages. As you all know, the city, like the district, has had increases in health insurance premiums, liability, and all those different things. So we've cut the budget back quite a bit, but this was the only solution for this problem. So.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
We explained to everyone last week at our meeting that, as we all know, as a city, outside of growth, there isn't there's no increase in funds coming into the district nor to the city. Without changing tax rates, you're basing everything off of that income. The county gives you your rate. You either maintain it, you raise it, you accept it. Well, in the district's case, it's West Point and Clearfield, and there just hasn't been significant enough growth yet to this point to bring in the income that we would need to cover this kind of an increase for our firefighters. And it's crucial. Our numbers were way off as we sat down with the budget committee and went through these. It was in desperate need to be able to maintain those firefighters here. And,
just may I also add, Mayor, just also across the state, this is in the North Davis Fire District, but ambulance revenues are down. And I'm not going to blame it on the Affordable Care Act, but we have way more self-pays. These are fire chiefs, way more self-pay. Medicaid is 13 cents on the dollar, Medicare. So ambulance revenues are down across the state with this health care reform or whatnot. And as you know, our calls just keep increasing. So you're right, our revenue stream is from personal property tax or ambulance revenue. We don't have any sales tax or anything like that.
So I'll reiterate what I stated at the meeting last week at the fire district meeting. I would not support it. I mean, I'm not a fan of the tax increase, but I wouldn't support this unless I knew that every single resident, if they were sitting in that same chair, sitting in this chair, wouldn't do the exact same thing. I don't think there's a resident out there that would argue that this is not necessary if they sat and had the same information that we did and looked at the same numbers, that wouldn't make that same decision, and I'm very comfortable with that. So any questions or concerns, council?
I just like, my involvement in there, I've always been surprised at the what I consider a really low salary for people like that. And if we're low within a low salary range, then that needs to be resolved. On the other facet of that, I don't think it's appropriate for me, at least, to second guess the work that's been done on evaluation, identification of budget concerns by that group. So I think it would be presumptuous on our part to overrule something that's been done. Certainly just having a little passive information and say, oh, all the work you guys did, I'm going to overrule that.
We really have an amazing fire district. They work hard. They don't have much. We run on a pretty lean budget, but they make the most of it. And every decision we make on that fire board is for the safety of our firefighters, and making sure that they have the best training and best equipment. And I've said it before, and I tell residents all the time of how remarkable they are, and they really put our communities up front to make sure that we're safe. And so I wouldn't have gone forward. I'm not a big fan of tax increases either, but this is going where it matters, and it's going to the firefighters.
We did go over last week our normal incoming and average salaries for our firefighters, and kind of explained that to the board so that they'd have a good grasp of what this did. And yeah, it's often a little disheartening to look and see what those guys make, and they do this because they love it, and that's good. I mean, it's their career, and they love what they do. So, council, and if there's no other comments or concerns, I'd entertain a motion.
Your Honor, I'll move to approve Resolution 2018 R-12, adopting the certified tax rate for the North Davis Fire District's 2018 tax year, and authorize your signature to any necessary documents.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Councilmember Roper.
Aye.
Councilmember Peterson.
Aye.
Councilmember Phipps.
Aye.
Councilmember Bush.
Aye.
Councilmember Thompson.
Aye.
It is unanimous. That brings us to our communication items. As Commissioner Elliott mentioned, we had the opportunity to go down tonight and look at a different style of housing. I don't know if we call it affordable or it was unique. It was containers turned into shipping containers turned into houses. There's a project of them going in Salt Lake, about 5th South, 5th West, where they will be stacking them 6 stories high, which is an interesting thing to see. It's there's a lot of pressure from everywhere for there to be affordable housing. I will be blunt, as I talk to the folks there, if that was a project that people were coming in to own and live in, and it was theirs, and that was their solution, was just a smaller compartmentalized house, I probably wouldn't have a major issue with it. I'd still have some concerns, and I know our residents would have some concerns depending on where those were placed. But to have a massive group of those come in as basically a rental project and very low rent. The double wide, which was 2 trailers or 2 containers put together, was $95,000 was the purchase price for it. It is a very unique product. It is a very good product. I had the privilege of touring these at the National League of Cities when we were back there. Crap, I can't remember when that was, last year. But toured one that they're pushing for the veterans. The veterans housing is really pushing these for those for the veterans. It is a very good product. It has. I'm not saying there's not a place for it. It's a matter of how you put that into a place and what that becomes. And if it's, you know, like I say, it's got its place. There's a right place for it and a wrong place for it. It's just a matter of if there is a place for it. But it was a very interesting tour, and that thing was a 2-bedroom, big bath, laundry room, kitchen, dining room. It was actually. And it was a very rough product. It'll be there through the fair, so take the time, go down and take a look at it. Again, I don't know. We'd have to see. They can finish them. This one actually looks like a container ship. I mean, it looks just like it hopped off the boat. The contractor is hoping with the inland port coming that will give him much better access to the containers as they come through, dropped off in Salt Lake. He'll be able to pop them on a train and haul them up here. He's working right now on a spot in Clearfield for his manufacturing. So that's a possibility as well that they'll be actually making them here in the city. So, anyhow, that was, I believe that was all I had for tonight. I'll be out tomorrow morning with the Utah Defense Alliance at Tooele, taking a tour of the Tooele Army Depot. So
That's a nice place.
Councilmember Bush.
I had the chance to attend the pop-up party at Jacobson a couple of weeks ago. I thought there were quite a few people there for that small of a park and small of area, and they were all having a good time. I looked at the tour of Utah the other day, and they went past really quickly. I happened to get there just at the right time. And Saturday I was at the Hope Center backpack giveaway, and Pastor Brown does a good job with that, helping a lot of kids. So that's all I have.
Okay. Councilmember Peterson.
I attended the Hope Center as well and appreciate Councilmember Bush recognizing Pastor Brown and the Hope Center and New Hope Fellowship for the service that is to our community, getting kids ready for back to school. Since we have our fire chiefs here, just in light of just, the sad news that we woke up to this morning, our condolences not only just to Draper Fire and to the Utah as a whole for the loss of Battalion Chief Bircher this morning, but just a recognition of the inherent dangers that come with this line of work, and an appreciation for the safety that we depend on, whether that's wildfires within our state or across the country. We appreciate that, and also to our police, and recognize that parts of maintaining our community and providing the lifestyle that we enjoy carry some inherent risks, and those are at our forefront. So our condolences to not only to Draper City, but to all of those in that line of profession. We appreciate the service that you do. Thank you.
Thank you. I should say Hope Center's event was great. I did have a limited amount of time to be there, but did get to go out and speak for a little bit, so it was good. Councilmember Thompson. Almost got you commissioner there, promoting you, or demoting you.
Well, speaking of commissioner, Commissioner Elliott kind of took some of my report earlier at the work session, but I'll go over a little bit of it. Mosquito abatement, the new granulator. Right now, what they're finding is that the current granulator they're going in to spray the bugs with isn't effectively taking care of the larvae, and they were wasting a lot of money. So they want one that has more longevity. They'll be trying to get that within the next 30 days. Also, the trading drone. They're trying to make sure the drone kind of focuses in and zooms in on the areas where the mosquitoes are more accurately. Right now, the drone just isn't getting enough look, so they don't know where to spray more accurately at. And also, the mosquito abatement district will be losing, not district, but mosquito abatement will be losing about 14 employees. A lot of the kids will be returning to college. I guess Utah Valley University started a lot more earlier this year than in previous years, so they'll be losing employees. And then Aedes dorsalis, the mosquito that we were trained on. It's a big mammal feeder. It has 10-year life with its eggs. They call them smart eggs. So what ends up happening is these eggs are laid and they can just stay dormant. And unless the water is deep enough or warm enough, the eggs will not hatch. So meaning they can just stay in cycles and for years and years until they get to that perfect point. These are the type of mosquitoes that will eat your kids up at practice. So that's why there's a big focus on them. That's why they get a lot of calls on for around this time of year. And it also will affect our agricultural industry with our horses and the way we grow things out here. So very interesting things coming out of mosquito abatement. But I will say that this mosquito is not known for carrying West Nile, so it doesn't pose that big of a risk as far as getting people with West Nile virus. That's all I have.
Okay, thank you. Councilmember Roper.
My turn, yay. I want to thank our county commissioners for coming out tonight. It's really nice to see you here, and also our fire chiefs for being here. I don't think our fire chiefs get enough thanks. They don't come to these type of meetings, and we try to give them kudos at our meeting. But I did not attend the open house at Jacobson Park, but I got a couple good comments about it. There have been some residents there that didn't feel like they were completely part of Clearfield, and so they were thankful that we brought Clearfield to them. That's all I have.
Okay, Councilmember Phipps.
You know, I think we had the Restoration Advisory Board quarterly meeting, which, if you're familiar with that, that's dealt with groundwater contamination from Hill Air Force Base. And I think I mentioned before that there is a methane issue on 200 West up in that area there, which is actually a good problem to have because it means that the mitigation efforts that they're using, the process creates methane gas, which means the microbes there are really happy and they create a lot of methane. But there's enough to it's not dangerous, but there is a lot of methane gas accumulating. They've verified that it hasn't permeated even beyond the road base into any properties, but it is there. So they are in the process, the engineers are developing a mitigation plan. There's a couple of things that, it's much like the other petroleum-based products that are the source of the contamination. Exposure to air vents it, and then it's not an issue. So 2 or 3 different approaches to that. They're looking at that, making a determination. I know they've talked with the fire department and others about that, make sure that so the community is safe. They will, over the next few months, come up with a mitigation methodology to vent that. May be some construction there where they put blowers or something like that. So, but there's often seems to be in the community a feeling that the Air Force is nefarious or that they're hiding things or something like that. So I'd like to give this a lot of publicity that they take groundwater contamination seriously. They're making phenomenal strides in mitigating this. And so I'd be happy to provide any, we only have this small area in Clearfield. There's much more substantial problems in some of our neighboring cities. But, so if anybody wants to any more detail about that, then that's another thing I like to talk about. But, so that's all. I did want to mention something that's been on my mind, where in the news there was a code enforcement officer that met their demise, and it helps you appreciate what people in municipal governments do, of all things, trying to enforce code enforcement, and then you end up giving your life for that. And so that's a real tragedy, but it helps us appreciate what people that deal with the public every day, which many of our staff do, the risks that they face. So very appreciative of those who are the face of the city, the community.
Yeah, that was in West Valley City, and my son just started working for West Valley City.
Mm-hmm.
City Manager's report.
I'd just like to echo the thanks that have already been offered to the commissioners for joining us tonight. It's good to have you with us. And especially Commissioners Smith and Milburn. We wish you well a few months from now as you move on to your next phases. We've enjoyed working with you. It's been good. Also, we're working to prepare for our retreat next Thursday. Nancy will give you another reminder about that, but looking forward to that. It was fun to cheer on the cyclists last week as they came through Clearfield on the tour of Utah. That was a good time. Fun to be a part of that. And last of all, last week we sent out our monthly report. If you got any questions at all, just let me know.
Okay. Thanks, JJ. Other staff reports? Nancy?
So you guys have a busy week next week, right? So we've got work session at 6 o'clock in the multipurpose room. And Wednesday we have the pop-up park at Train Watch Park, pop-up party at Train Watch Park. And then Thursday we'll have our retreat at the Talia Event Center at 11:30. So, and then I sent out invitations to the dinner that night. Please be sure and send your RSVP. And just a reminder that the league meetings are September 12th through the 14th. We've heard from most of you, but not all of you, on whether you'll be attending there. So if you can let us know, if you have not let us know, please let us know immediately if you'll be attending the league meetings. And that's everything I have.
Isn't the Train Watch Park this week?
Yes.
Did I get it wrong?
Trevor's going to take care of that for us.
I'll help clarify the pop-up
Sorry,
parties.
yeah.
So the pop-up parties this week is Train Watch Park on the 16th, so it's Thursday. And just for your information, we are going to block off a portion of the road in front of Train Watch Park to park the vehicles in. There is parking at the LDS Church building next door. It won't impede traffic either, so it should be fairly non-consequential to close that part of the road. It'll provide an opportunity for kids to walk back and forth, and we'll have our chalk drawing on the street there. So that is this Thursday, and then next Wednesday on the 22nd is at Steed Park, North Steed Park at the Pavilion. We'll be parking the vehicles in that parking lot, and there'll be additional parking both at the school and up at the pond. So that one, they both start at 6 p.m. and will end at 7. Really great turnouts this week. We sent out about 2,500 invitations for the Train Watch Park. On average, we get about, I had a percentage worked out and I can't remember. But last time, for reference, we sent out about 1,800 and we got 75 to 100 attendees at Jacobson. So we expect probably about 150 to 200 participants. And so great times. It's a lot of fun to get out and just have a low-key party with our neighborhoods. So is there any other questions about the neighborhood party?
No, just because the ribbon cutting's right for the new buildings this
Yes,
Thursday,
so this week
right?
on Thursday as well, in the morning, we have our Maintenance Operations Center ribbon cutting. That's at 497 South Main Street. That's at our public workshops. That'll be 9 o'clock will be the ribbon cutting, and then shortly after will be an open house with some light refreshments. So you should receive an invitation for that, and we're excited for that. So I think is that everything that we have? Okay.
Okay, thank you, Trevor. That is all I had on the agenda. Is there anybody else any other staff reports? Okay, if not, I'd entertain a motion to adjourn from our policy session, reconvene in a work session.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, stand adjourned.
For 5 whole minutes.
I was camping Thursday, Friday, and I got home Saturday. So I didn't get anything until Monday.
Oh, yeah.
Try it, because I don't want to
Finish back to school shopping with my kids this week. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
until
Yeah, no, my kids are like, Mom, God.